Hello and welcome everyone to what's a rather unexpected video. There was no notice of this coming out, but I was rather pleased to see that these buses, the first double-deck SL5, here today. It's just come back from its second ever journey. Here it is, the blinds. And the driver's been really kind to let me have a tour of the interior, so while no one's in it, I might as well do it and show you some of the cool features. See the two main destinations there. Croydon Town, some looking a bit dodgy in my opinion, but it's alright. Let's have a look inside. Thank you.
That's right.
And here we are. And already, I'm just going to say it's an absolutely beautiful interior. There's no other way of putting it. The Lazarini just blend in perfectly well. It's just all amazing. It's surreal having this opportunity. I mean, there's just so much blue, and the blue is incredible, more than you see in a right Electrona, certainly. And the wood just. Again, Arriva have a superb looking interior, probably the best among any of the operators, and it just blends amazingly with this bus. Now, obviously you can see here, a very unique display. These are starting to come into fashion on, actually you probably see these in other BD11s. I haven't ridden lots of them, but certainly the Metroline ones I know. And it's like an old-fashioned iBus screen. They're seen in the right Electronics on like the 204 and such like, but it actually just looks like it's meant to be there here, and it means that if you happen to be where I am now, sort of facing the back, then you can see where you are and where you're going. It's amazing. And the other thing I must point out while I'm here is that the amount of wheelchair space in this bus is absolutely huge. Like, other buses have just got nowhere near this much wheelchair space. It's so unique. And then I just figured out why. Because if you look back behind me, you only see two sets of seats. Which, yeah, there should be another row of seats around here. But there isn't. And I guess it just gives a bit more standing space. Which is in some ways inconvenient, but increased capacity, so I guess it's alright. Now that Arriva badge, I must say, it's beautiful. I think it's a great touch. We haven't had any future spec buses with this logo at the back. It's a bit reminiscent of the old EV cities, but even that one I doubt has this. And the BD11 I can already see just absolutely succeeds where the Enviro 500 EV City doesn't. With legroom, there's absolutely tons of it, which is brilliant to see. One interesting feature I just noticed is the stop bell, which, just to zoom out a minute, is located in between the back seats. It's quite a nice touch, considering that there aren't any handlebars at the back, and oddly enough, there's also a stop bell here, with this actually rather unusual looking USB charger. It's not the same brand as the others, but as you can see, it offers USB-A and USB-C connectivity, which just means it's fitted to the needs of all different types of phone users. I'm an Android person, I use USB-A. Now, I must confess this one thing, I still don't like how they haven't rectified this issue. I don't know why they couldn't put an extra seat in there. If anyone knows, let me know in the comments, I guess. But it is probably a bit more of a stylish feature than what you see on the EV cities, with the grab handles just look a bit wrong. And here they just look nice. There's no other real way of putting it. It's a beautiful Revo logo, love it. If I turn back, I mean, what can I say? It is very spacious indeed, due to the huge amount of wheelchair space. And indeed, one thing I've not seen on any bus before this 3 rows of seating in front of the doors, with the traditional, with the traditional Superloop door livery there. Although one thing I have to note is that the front seats, for some reason, aren't priority seats, whereas the 2 behind it are. Perhaps then the number of seats around here is what one would expect it to be. And actually, what I do, just looking at the huge amount of space, just looking at it, like the amount of space between the door, the rear door and the front door is huge. So I guess the doors just look a bit further back than on other buses. Now looking at this, I mean, this is, I think, a bit of a fault, personally. I think they could have put the iBus screen, the forward-facing iBus screen around here, but they didn't. They chose to put it around here. It's not autonomous, but I'll give you a video of when it is.
SL5 to Bromley North.
They are Arriva's standard units. You see them on all of Arriva's future spec buses. Although I'm not the biggest fan of them, I don't think they display as much information as they could do. And they display longer destinations somewhat well. Certainly the ones on this route. But with many other destinations that are even longer, they're not the best.
Up the stairs we go. It seems, just by looking at it, there might be some lighting here, although it isn't late at night, so I can't say that for sure. And then I look upstairs and it's just even more beautiful, frankly. I do find it odd that Arriva have chosen to abandon the approach of having handlebars like they did on the right leg shriners. I personally thought it was a really nice touch, and just, I mean, the handlebars are just, they should be, I think it should be white personally. I think it would make it stand out a bit more. But it does add to the spaciousness of the bus, and I wasn't sure how the blue would look on Arriva, but as in with the BD11, but it is amazing. There's a lot of it. It's quite a long bus, 10.9 meters, just as long as an EV City. And the best thing is it's brand new. You know, they only had 2 journeys on it, and it's already a bit dirty, sadly. But it's got the new bus smell. It's just amazing, really. Yeah. Skylight here. It's quite a big one, admittedly, but I wouldn't say it adds that much natural light, considering that the next one is only all the way down there. So it's not as airy as, say, a right electroliner would be. I think considering the position's quite poor as well, actually. You can see this sort of window actually lies above it goes a bit further than the rear seats. I think it could easily be a bit further forward, really. That is probably my only criticism of this, of the interior of this bus, really. You look back, take another one of these excellent views. I'm actually going to sit down on the poles in the middle, and it's pretty uncomfortable, actually. You can see that's what the rear seats look like.
USB ports here. Different brand to the ones stuck on the side of the bus though. Think of the stop bar located in a good position, so both persons sitting next to the window and close to the aisle can press it without having to put their arms over each other. That's a big problem, particularly in go-aheads future spec interiors.
One thing that's a bit disappointing right now is that the lighting, which is so characteristic on the other BD11s, for being either like colours like red or green, is just a plain white. Hopefully, I think these will come on at some point, and they'll in the night. But for now, it's just really stylish either way. You can see the air vents at the top going all down. That's a great feature too.
But it's at the very front where the AC is best, because you can literally customize it to your tastes. And then I just thought I'd say some words about the iBus unit at the front. It's nothing special, it's typical Arriva vintage, but I do like the fact that in the BD11, this particular one, the screen looks like it's meant to be there. It doesn't take up any additional space that hampers visibility. I really like it.
SL5 to East Croydon.
And one final feature I thought I'd point out before I get off and have to go to the bus stop is obviously the Superloop posters, which are located at pretty regular intervals along the bus. And then when it comes to the exterior of the bus, I mean, I really like it. It looks literally exactly the same as the equivalent Route SL4 buses, but that's fine. I think the BYD BD11 probably suits the Superloop livery, that two-tone style, more than any other bus type in general. And it's probably due to that front overhang there. It's just a perfect cut-off point for the two-tone look. A lot of people say that the rear of the bus looks a bit odd with Superloop branding. I've got nothing against it personally.
Although I do admit that the rear could have looked so much more stylish if it had the two-tone look. Problem is, that route map at the bottom seems to be a necessary feature of a Superloop bus for some reason, and due to the massive amount of space taken up by the rear blind, they just couldn't have moved it sufficiently high. Although I'd like to emphasise this is a really minor flaw indeed. Other things besides looks? Well, the ride in these buses is rather excellent. I haven't noticed any bumps at all, and I certainly can't say the same about the old Emirates 100s. You really could feel rather comfortable at times. I'd also emphasise the seats on these buses are amazing. The Lazzarini highbacks they're the best seats out of any by far. They hug your figure quite well, and just a pleasure to sit in. Now, finally, I just want to talk about the bigger picture with these buses. As I've alluded to before, these BD11s are replacing Alexander Dennis Enviro 200s that have been used on the route since its launch in February last year. Thing is though, I reckon this change from single to double deck operation is likely to make more of a difference to the lives of passengers than any other change to a bus route has in a very long time. The thing that's really stood out to me is that every single bus that I've seen has been busy. In the middle of the day, a large portion of the seats are occupied, and during peak times, both morning and evening, all the seats are occupied and there's no standing room available either. Amazingly, that applies to every single service, such is the demand for the route. Now, with the introduction of double-deckers, there's just more space for passengers to sit, so they don't have to be sandwiched together anymore. And at the same time, the true capacity of Route SL5 can finally be realised. Previously, the SL5 has been one of the lowest performing Superloop routes, due to the limited capacity as a result of the single-deckers. Now, that can finally change.
But despite all this, I'll still be really sad to see the old Emirates 100s go. I've ridden both the BD11s and the Emirates 100s on Route SL5, and I just find the Emirates 100 experience so much more exciting. And it's 100% because of the sounds. You know, sounds completely enhance the experience of a bus. It's what makes me smile whenever I get on a bus. It's what calms me down, what makes me relax when I'm riding a bus. And the sounds in this bus, these particular Emirates 100s, are among my favourite Emirates 100 sounds in London, I've got to tell you that. Whereas the BD11 is quiet, subdued, civilised. I can actually hear the sound of my own voice above the noise the bus makes. All these qualities are exactly what the modern commuter wants.
But the problem is, I'm not a modern commuter. I ride buses for fun. And when I take a look at these specific BD11s, they just make me feel quite sad, because they remind me that the SL5 has just become a much less fun route to ride.
I guess that's all I've got to say. But if you have any opinions, I'd love to know. Please post them in the comments. And I'm also really open to hearing any requests for bus routes or bus types for me to review. And I'd love to know any ideas for future videos as well. So yeah, all the best. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.